Hey guys, how do you feel about learning how to do a hub assembly on a 2010 Yukon? It's going to work for like Tahoes and different years as well, but this is like your basic GM hub. It's going to work for, Silverados, cars, all kinds of stuff. Your regular hub, nothing fancy. You do one, you know how to do the rest of them pretty much. Let's get her done. What size we got on those lug nuts?
That's a 22, but they're a little swollen, so we're going to go with a 22 and a half. Just make sure things go easy for us today.
Gotta have those half sockets around here, guys. You gotta have them. So you're gonna wanna take all your brakes apart. Ooh, yep, that rotor's hot. Feels a little toasty. All right, you got your torque socket already, Jamie?
Torque socket. This guy?
This one has a torque
screw.
screw
The
in
torque
it.
screw. Yeah, that's
Before you take your brakes off, it's always good to take this torque screw out. Some vehicles have them, some don't. That's a T25, 27?
I'll try that 30. Pretty sure
30?
that's it.
It's a 30. And sometimes these can be pesky and frozen in there. This one looks pretty clean. See if you can hold the stud still for me. It's spinning. There it goes.
There it is.
That one was pretty easy, actually.
All right.
The brakes give you that little extra drag. That's why I always start off with the rotor screw, if it's in there. What do we got, 18s and 19s in the back of here?
It'll be a 19 for that caliper.
Ooh, this one's on there good.
Yeah, they were both on there pretty good last.
Or maybe it'd help if I went lefty-loosey.
Get a little separation here.
Tag team it and see how fast we can get it done. Yeah, why not? Start taking the ABS wire off too. These wheel speed sensor wires or ABS wires, whatever you want to call them. They're attached to the hub with a bolt. You can replace them individually. Whenever you buy a hub, they give you a new one with them. 19 millimeter on the back of your caliper bolts here. Got a handy tray on this Yukon, the running board. I believe they're 18 on these. Yeah.
Yes, they are. All right. That's pop, and sweet.
I don't like using this fine-tooth Craftsman for breaking stuff apart. But where's the other big ones? It's disappeared. Oh well.
I don't know why this is giving me such trouble. Push in.
It happens. Go ahead and bring out the Olsa Tools breaker bar. It's got a nice slim head on it for those tighter areas. One thing I like about it, because these caliper mounted bracket bolts from the factory are put in with Loctite, they're usually in there pretty tight. It depends on what the last person who worked on it did though. Oh yeah. It was on there pretty good. I'm glad I grabbed the breaker bar.
Breaker bars are classic. Yeah, there's a mound of Loctite on those.
Yeah, I believe it. That's the GM thing. Make sure your brake pads are nice and loose, not frozen in. Good opportunity to do brakes at the same time, but these ones that have been recently replaced, they're almost full on life. This is the first time we've seen this vehicle in our garage. So,
Right, come on.
long-time customer bought a new vehicle, had a little hub noise. Front left was completely.
Finally.
So we fixed that side. Took it for a test drive, and there was slight noise in this one that we could now hear without all the noise of the front left. So like, yep, let's get another hub going. Do the other side. And it's always recommended to do them in pairs anyways, you know?
Nifty little caliper here.
Just like doing calipers or struts or whatever. Do them in pairs. If one is going out, the other one will be not too far behind usually. Not always. Usually. Sometimes. Depends on your fortune. So those were the 18mm caliper mounting bracket bolts. This is your mounting bracket. Boom, that's where the bolts go. Set this guy up here. That rotor's just gonna come off with no hammering or anything, so you can really tell these brakes were done recently.
Oh yeah.
We got a 36mm for our axle nut. Washer. Washer. There we go. You have your hot rotor. Put her somewhere safe. Wheel speed sensors detached. Looks like somebody anti-seized the hub. Alright, we have 3 bolts on the back of the hub. Let's see if our CD actually pushes in. It's not. Let's see if we can hammer that guy off.
Well, this one went in fairly easily.
Those hub bolts are coming off easy. Do we need to loosen this before we go?
Yeah.
All right, the threads. Yeah, it's moving back, but it's. You don't want to hurt your threads, but there is a little bit past the threads here, so if you hammer on it lightly, it's not gonna hurt nothing. I wouldn't go to town on it or anything. Let's go. Give it a little spray and then a couple more hammer blows.
All right.
They push back easier if they're straight instead of tilted at an angle. But I can see a bunch of dry rust powder in here, and that's why it's not pushing back real easily. There we go. We got past all that rust. Can's almost out.
What'd you do with the fine tooth?
The fine tooth.
That would be better.
You need 18 on those or 15? Those are 15, right?
Yes, 15mm for your hub bolts here.
15.
Oh boy. Fire up that air compressor. Not the time getting that hub loose.
It was actually decent. I'm gonna give it the old hammer. Try not to use any air tools for people at home who don't have nothing but a simple set. That's how I try to do the videos, is not use any uncommon tools if I can. Because all the viewers on YouTube watching the how-tos, we'll try to hammer it off. If we need to bust out a special tool, we will. I hate when you watch a YouTube video and they're like, all right, just bust out this $10,000 tool.
Because everybody's got one. And
Yeah, just laying around. Oh, they got a buddy who has one. They'll do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got one.
You get 20 minutes.
Oh, here's another thing.
Get 20 minutes into a long video and then they bust out a $10,000 tool. What'd you have?
Oh, I just saw this kind of floating here in my line of sight, and I just thought it was floating there.
That's the air ride suspension lever option. It's got that option on it. Is that all 3 bolts?
Nope, one more.
I'll turn the wheel for you.
Thank you very much.
It's always easier to grab this wheel and turn it.
Yeah. working with mechanical advantage there.
Leverage. I wonder why my camera keeps on doing that. It goes fuzzy.
All right, she is unbolted.
All right. I see that it's rusting. It's probably an original hub, probably.
There it is.
That one wasn't too shabby at all.
Oh, got one more little spot there.
And it doesn't matter if you destroy it, because the new one comes with it. We need our shield back.
It's actually pretty clean.
Yeah, you can see our mating surface is clean on this one. A lot of times I like to wire wheel them. The sensor went. You always gotta make sure you put this plate on right. That's the way it goes. Like if you go this way, you know, your caliper's here, that's why it's cut out. Your sensor's gonna be in the wrong spot. So you gotta go like so. Let me see that plate.
Clean it up real quick.
Alright, we need to clean. The inside of this hub has a lot of rust. Can't really get the wire wheel in there. This axle really doesn't push back much, so I'll grab the Dremel tool and we'll clean all that rust out. I'm just gonna clean up this hub flange surface. There's some buildup of rust here, here, and here. Get some lube going and a new hub.
Lube? Here.
Alright, a little bit of lube where a new bearing is going in. Keep it from rusting up from the next guy that has to take it apart, which will probably be me if it ever needs to be done in the future. What up, Bob? You want to be in a YouTube video or not?
Oh, I love being in YouTube videos.
You want to do an advertisement for Auto Value?
No, I'm not bullshit. I watch YouTube, I've never been.
This hub assembly is brought to you by Auto Value, the best hubs in the world. Something like that. Yeah. Alright guys, we're going to put our 3 bolts in with our dust cover, like so. And then our wheel speed sensor, we're going to go ahead and put it through the hole right now before we put anything else on. Work with me here, wire. There we go.
No, I don't want.
Let me get a dab of lube for this shaft. I forgot to lube my shaft.
Finger in my pocket.
A little bit of lube on the CV shaft. Help that hub slide in straight,
Yeah, man, you gotta do
not
shit.
seize together.
Want me to straighten that up for you? That might
Yeah,
help.
straight wheels always help.
There you go.
And you line up your splines with the hub and the CV axle.
Oh, you got your bolts over there.
Go. Lined up. Axle went all the way through. Our bolts are in.
Oh,
So we start them by hand. These are coarse threads, so you're gonna have a heck of a time cross threading them. It just doesn't happen. So I got these two started, I believe.
That's right.
Yep. This little sensor's gonna clip into here. This guy's gonna clip into here. Plug in your wiring harness and give it a pull and make sure it doesn't come out. This one did. These sensors are pretty notorious for not clipping in very easily. You gotta really give it some pressure sometimes. Yep, this one is not clicking for some reason.
I had to get up underneath of it with a screwdriver, so that might be it.
Yeah, I'm bending the tab back upwards, which you would press it down to release the wiring harness.
Right. Still not grabbing.
We gotta give it a click. Gotta get that click. Yeah. To get the click, I'll put a screwdriver on it and bend that plastic. There we go. Nope. I felt the click and it still came out by hand. Well, I felt the click again without using the screwdriver this time. There we go. Now it's locked in. Just had to play with the tab with a small screwdriver a little bit. Click it in. Christmas tree was a little stiff. All right, wiring harness is all on. That's the wiring harness right there. I just put the screwdriver in the tab and pressed it down. Get that plastic's a little worn out. Tightening up the 15 millimeters on the back of the hub. Not sure what the torque spec is on those, but it's really tight. You want to tighten them up good. I go around each bolt twice.
Yep, I'm just getting them kind of set, and then I'm going to go through with the breaker bar.
We got our washer on the hub right there. Where's that nut at, Jamie? Right there. Always use a new nut when dealing with CV axles or hub assemblies. Ask your parts store for a new nut if it doesn't come with the hub. Some brands come with a new nut, some don't. I just got her snug down there. Nope, it's not snugged yet. There we go. You got your torque stick over there?
Yonder.
Where's you on?
Oh, actually, it's in the back. Those are all 3/8, and it's in the back room.
Bathroom.
Yeah, the 1/2 inch is in the back. Top shelf, I think.
Go over all three of those hub bolts and give it the gusto as much as you can. Go over them twice. Torquing them nice and tight. Precise built torque wrench. We got a lot of torque wrenches. You can find everything I use in my videos in my Amazon store, guys. So go to the about section or bio and you'll find it. If you need anything. Let's get these brakes put back together, I suppose. So we can do the torque on the axle nut with the screwdriver trick. Alright, so the torque spec on your axle nut is 177. Believe it or not, I used to torque all the axle nuts down to spec, and I had a couple of comebacks where they were loose. So now I always go like 10 foot-pounds over spec. Call me a hack if you want to. That's just my experience. That's like real life application.
You hack.
Real life application. I don't like comebacks. I give them a little extra. Little extra. And maybe it's the fault of aftermarket parts. You know, you get your hubs from the parts store. Like, very few people get hubs straight from the dealer, I'd say.
Well, you can also show them the old bar trick too, since how it's at an angle that way.
Yeah, let's get the rotor put back together. We'll do the screwdriver trick to do the torque. Should do a final torque on the ground, but never had an issue torquing it, whether it's on the ground or in the air after thousands of hubs. Never had an issue. All right, we're putting the rotor retainer screw back in. You don't have to, but I like to put them back in if they're clean, just so it keeps your rotor straight while you're assembling your brakes. It just helps. Now we're gonna cut the wheel the other way to make it easier to put our bracket on. Always be safe with your jacks and use jack stands, guys. Not the crumbly Harbor Freight ones, though.
Yeah, don't use those.
Did they end up getting sued over that or anything?
I do know that 13 ABC picked up that story about JRs.
I was watching WTOL and it said like something about
Trying to get them
JR's
for fraud.
fallout. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I learned a lot last night from the people who work there.
From the internets and the people.
The people.
Yeah. Well,
It wasn't the restaurant's fault. Well, we can't slander on the internet, so we'll talk about this later.
oh, you could always, you're editing though.
No, we're not editing nothing out. This is just it. All right, once again, 18 millimeter on these. You're gonna want to, I like to get them in hand tight, snug one down, don't give it the gusto. Then get the other one and give it to it nice and tight. Now come back to that first one that you merely snug. Finish her off. And let's do this guy a favor and clean his slide bolts while we're at it. That's one for you. We'll just, these actually look clean, no rust on them.
Yeah, they were.
So I'm just gonna wipe it down with a rag and give it some extra brake grease. And these pads are nice and slaggy.
Oh yeah.
Whoever did it last didn't put any lube on the contact points.
I just took those off.
You don't put. Oh, these are the ones that have the tab that keep it in. So it won't slide out unless you
They
do.
will, but no.
I'll give them a little grease right there. Just a little favor. Give them a little favor here. A little flavor. Push the pads in. Pile up a little grease in that corner so it kind of works in because these pads move in and out a little. It'll help them from freezing up here in the rust belt. Now this is high temp silicone based brake grease. In my opinion, this is the best stuff you can get by AGS. You can buy little packages of it now. I think at AutoZone picked up AGS in their little packages by the checkout.
Comes in a tub, comes in a tube, depends on how you like to use it.
Yep. That's also in my Amazon store. And this stuff just lasts a long time over the other types that I've used. I've experimented with lots of brake greases where, you know, I see somebody's vehicle every year or two, and this stuff seemed to hold up the best. Here's a homemade caliper hanger tool. Also works for other stuff. Made out of brake line. Pretty cool.
There you go.
Jamie made that. Bolts. Push your sliding brake hardware in. Line up the ears. I like to just get one started. And then get the other one in. and then get them finger tight, and then give them some torque. Now these ones you don't need as much torque as the caliper bracket. They are big bolts, though they're not the tiny caliper bolts. This is a truck we're dealing with.
They are fine threads, so.
Yeah, they are fine threads, so no impacts on these. Back in my early days, I impacted one and stripped it out. Never again. If they're fine thread, you know, you live and you learn. Fine thread caliper bolts do not get the ugga-duggas.
Here is your rusty, trusty
Screwdriver. We're going to be turning this way, so we want to stop our rotor. Here's a little trick for, you can put this on the ground to torque your axle nut. Put the wheel on, pop the wheel cover off. We're just going to torque it this way. We're at 190.
Carl, can I
Yeah, you can hold that.
I'll show you something.
Oh.
You just stick it in here in your little hole.
That'll
window.
work too.
It just holds it for you.
You got fins in your rotor. Trying to explain everything for beginners, you know.
Yeah. Well, here. We'll bring you in here closer.
There we go. There's the click. Now always double click. And 190 is quite a bit of torque. You can see this isn't a huge torque wrench, but it's a good size one. There we go.
So here is those ribs or vents right here for your rotor, and that's what we got that screwdriver at.
There we go. And now, before you take off, pump your brakes, because we retracted that caliper by putting the screwdriver in and pushing in on those fins. So your brakes are going to be loosey-goosey, so before you start it up, pump your brake pedal, get them back tight again. Torque your lug nuts to spec, and that is hub assembly replacement. And we'll put in the description or comments what years and vehicles. This is exactly the same for, I believe it's going to be Tahoe. Shoot, it's the same setup as Sierra Silverado, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But we'll put all that in the description or whatever. I don't think we're forgetting anything, are we, Jamie? Take it out for a test drive. Make
Yeah,
sure your
do that.
ABS light doesn't come on, because, you know, if your ABS light was on before because of a bad hub throwing it off, reset it. And that'll do. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next episode.